evening and welcome to the Vision of Hope show. We're here in the TV land at Win TV in Windsor, Connecticut. I am your host and your producer, Deborah Ringo, and we are ready to start. We have our great host, our great guest back again tonight, none other than the great Russell Ringo, and he's doing a 4-part series, and we're going to get to the last part tonight. And we just want to say to you, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Email, text, call, let somebody know that Vision of Hope is on the air at Win TV. Good evening, Mr. Ringo.
Good evening.
How are you tonight?
Blessed and highly favored.
So am I. We have something in common there.
Amen.
We're so glad to have you back on the show. As I was just introducing you to the audience, I'm sure they're aware of you now because you've been on here consecutive. But you're doing a 4-part series, and it has just been fantastic. We want to thank you again for coming back, and we want the audience to know that Mr. Ringo is here so that we could be of help to you where you are in your life, and we want to shine some light on your situation, give some hope where there's no hope, letting you know don't give up, but just to hang in there. Mr. Ringo was with us. And he talked about depression, transition, and grateful. And tonight you are going to speak on
knowing your place in the state of depression, being grateful, and even in your destiny.
Okay, all right, wonderful. We're ready, so.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Good evening to those that are listening at this great Vision of Hope talk show, and we are honored to be here with a fantastic host, Miss Ringo. And one thing that we was talking about, and one thing that was dropped in my spirit about knowing your place on where you are, and what that means. That a lot of times that in this season that we're coming up Christmas and people giving gifts, and a lot of times we don't understand really where we are, even in our own personal endeavors. And we don't even understand and know that where am I? And when you begin to search yourself and find out where am I at this time, place, and juncture in my life, and sometimes see we get caught up in things that we say, well, I don't know where my place. It's just like you might tell your children or someone, stay in your place. That means get into a place where you safety, where there's joy, happiness, and find your place on where you are in life. And a lot of times that you can feel like you're in one place and be caught up in some type of depression, sadness. And really, you're not in that place, but our mind begin to say, I feel like I'm in this particular place, but really search your soul and find out what place are you in, where you at.
All right, wonderful. There's a lot that was said, that you just said, because I know knowing your place is so important in life. Because so many times we get shifted and moved and distracted because a lot of times we don't know our place. And I love the example of using about the children and even sometime in adults. We're out of place. We're out of our lane, so to speak, and we're not productive because we're not in our right place. So my question to you is, I know that, growing up and raising kids and being around kids and being a kid, that we were taught that there is a place that you stay in. It's just like when we were with our parents. If company came over, we didn't run up and be all in the company's face and, take over the conversation. And we knew our place. And if we didn't get in our place, We knew what was going to happen later.
Yeah.
You know, and then if we did get out of place, all it took was for our parents to give us a look, and we knew what we were supposed to do from that point on. But let me ask you this: that does apply to being a child, and it does apply to being an adolescent. It applies to being a teenager, young adult, and adult. But how does one know their place? Let's help us to come into that. How does one really know their place?
Well, one thing that when you begin to be reared as a child, young, middle-aged, adolescent, and even adult, and then you have had some type of teaching through life and through your parenting, telling you there are certain things you should be doing at a certain time. It's just like if you are married and you cannot predict another person's house or sometimes, you know, people we conversate, and sometimes people say, you know what, I want to cook for a whole month. So now some wives or husbands would take that literally at heart and won't cook for a whole month. And a lot of times that we get to the point that you be saying, well, I think you out of place. Because even I have heard you say, told me, well, baby, did you put them in their place? Because they stepped over a line that you figure, well, hold up now, you have no business going to the far left or to the far right. So we know that I got to know where I'm at in my place, really depending on where my mind's at, and really depending on what I have achieved or trying to achieve in life. So I can't achieve as a teenager because I'm not a teenager. So I can't be 8 or 9 because I'm not 8 or 9. But when I know where I'm at in life, at my juncture of life, so now I got to find out, now where am I at the stage of the game? Where's my place? What is my mission, in other words, in life? Do I need to accomplish more? I need to, you know, endure more. I need to set the sky's the limit and go forward. So I have to find out where I'm at this time in life. Do I need to go back to school or get out of school? I need to be a better parent or keep parenting like I am. So you got to find out where you are, and that take some real hard look at you and not nobody else. And see, we can blame everybody else, but look at yourself in the mirror. And one thing that I was thinking about, I'm gonna get back to you, I was thinking about that when God made man and he began to form him in the likeness and the image. And I began to talk about it, I said, well, that ground was the dust and dirt. But when God began to form us as man and woman, the image is the characteristic. What God seen in Adam, God seen within himself. And the likeness is that what God like, he instilled in Adam, that Adam like what God like. So when you begin to know your place, imagery, when I look at this, I can see this looking at me back. So that's just find your place.
Okay, all right. Now that's heavy. That's heavy. All right, so as I was thinking also along with you, and you said it, that you have to evaluate yourself, you know, because how are you going to really know, and you shine the light on this, how are you going to really know your place if you don't step back and evaluate where you are and what you're doing? And just like you said, if you have to go to school, or if you have to come out of school, or if you have to shift jobs, or whatever you have to do, or, you know, evaluate where you are, what you're doing. And in that, I believe you have to stay focused. You know, you have to stay focused on what you're doing, because if you lose focus, I believe you lose your place.
Yeah.
You know, because they work hand in hand right there together. So and I believe in the times that we're in now in the world, things are moving so fast and things are changing. It's almost like you can't keep up with it, you know. And if you don't keep evaluating, and if you don't stay focused, you will lose sight of really what's going on, and you can lose your place.
That's right.
You can really lose your place. So it behooves us to really stay focused and to really realize, what's going on around us. What do I need to do that I can come up to par, because things are changing. With the computers and all of that, with the social media, it's constantly growing. They're constantly adding things, taking away things. And if that's the way that you have to produce in life, if you're not focused on that and you don't see your place in that, you will lose, because a lot of it gets very tricky, if you don't really know what it's all about. And also, I was thinking about the times that we're in now, as far as the season that we're in now, the holidays, Christmas, where we are now, and the reason for the season, staying focused with that, because you can lose your place in that. You can get caught up in the materialistic part of it, just spending. But that's not the reason for the season, to just spend. I could give you a gift, and it could just be baking you some cookies, or baking you a pie, or baking you whatever, and that should be good enough. You know what I mean? But a lot of times we get misconstrued with the reason why we're doing this, and our focus goes out the window, and we get caught up in that part of it, and instead of staying focused in the reason of it.
And one thing that it becomes so commercialized.
Right.
It's about profit and margin and error. It's geared up this time of year to get you to a point that you almost go bankrupt.
Right.
And as you was talking, and you was talking about, and I hear the Lord was saying, don't allow nobody to move you out of your place. You can know where your place is, but sometimes don't allow nobody to move you out of your place. And that's one thing you have to be focused all the way around, even in this season, that sometimes people say, come on, let's go shopping, and you don't have but on your bill money. But because you want to be a part of the in crowd, you're going to spend everything you got and cry later about, I don't spend all my money on what? A one-day gift or two-day gift. So you have to be very careful in this time of the year. And one thing I look at, that talking about out of your place, and I know we got a few minutes, talking and being in your place and out of your place. And it's just like that when you are in motor vehicle and you've been waiting all day to get up to take care of your business, all of a sudden you got to go to the restroom real quick. And all of a sudden you step and go to the restroom and lose your place because you stepped out of line just a little bit too quick, and you were next in line to take care of your registration on your vehicle. So a lot of times you can get close to the line, and some come up unexpected, even though you had kidney problem. You should take care of that before you got in line, but you want to get up there knowing that I got an issue. All of a sudden, you lose your place that quick when you step out of line. And you had to go back to the back of the line and wait all over again.
Wow. And that is so that is so profound. It is so everyday, and it's so right now. That could even happen in the grocery store.
In the grocery store.
It can happen anywhere that you are in line, or you're in your place at that moment, but something happens that you gotta, you don't want to lose your place. And I know a lot of times in the grocery store, you say, can you hold my spot for me? I'll be right back. You'll ask the next person, to do that for you. But even in something as simple as that, it's so important that we know our place, and that we try to stay within our place. And I was also thinking about, talking talking about the reason for the season, I was thinking about how sometimes people become, when you were saying how people get out of their place of following people, some people just like to do the commercial part. They just have to, they got to go out and spend all of this money. Just people are going to do that. But some people become vulnerable. They become vulnerable to that. And because a lot of times the hype of it, but that's where the down really is the downside of it, because it takes you to a place that you have to struggle to come out of. And sometimes it'll put you in a place of once it's over, because it's one day, and once it's over, you become depressed because the hype is gone. We do all this stuff for that one day, That's why we need to know the reason
For the season.
For the season, because that's what's going to help us to stay in our place. That's what's going to keep us focused on the purpose of why we are able to celebrate. I mean, I could feel before this time comes, I like to feel like I feel when it comes. Because you can begin to feel, some people can begin to feel the festiveness of it, but sometimes some people are depressed.
Yeah.
Some people are lonely. Some people are angry. It depends. Some people are sad, because a lot of things happen around this time of year, that brings on happiness, it brings on grief, it puts you in a lot of different places in your mind. But that's when you have to grab onto what's the real reason, because the real reason is gonna stabilize you, and it's gonna keep you focused, and it's gonna keep you motivated, and it's gonna keep you moving in the right direction.
That's true, because a lot of times around this time we reflect on those loved ones that is not here anymore.
Right.
That we don't, almost like the family circle has been broken. And sometimes that we do get to a point that we get depressed, because if you're a single mother out there struggling, trying to provide for your kids, and you get depressed because you only can do a certain amount for the kids that you have, and you see other parents and other single mothers, like their kids got everything they want. And so sometimes you begin to go back into a depressed mode, that, man, I want to do better, but you're doing the best you can. So somebody out there looking and listening that are single mothers, that if you give that child love, a stable home, and one day you can afford to be able to give some of the expensive gifts, because Jesus is the actual reason for the season. He gave love, he gave his life, he gave compassion, he gave understanding. So when we understand, and a lot of times people fall out. A lot of marriages go through a divorce because I didn't get that diamond ring, or you didn't get what I expect you're supposed to have. And a lot of times it brings friction, even in your house, over one day gift.
Right.
So this is a time that a lot of things pressure on every hand. You gave me $50, I want $50. You gave me $100, but I want $1,000.
Right.
So it's not the magnitude of the amount, but behind the magnitude and behind the gift, if there's no love behind it, keep it to yourself.
Right. Awesome. Very, 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 very great. We want to make sure that as you were talking to the single parents, because this time of year can be a struggle. It can really be a struggle, because kids begin to say what they want, and the moms, or the dads that's single, a lot of times we want to do just what they want. We want to give them, but a lot of times we can't. But we can certainly give them love, and continue to give them love. And we're here at Win TV, and we're reaching out to the community. And I pray and hope that we have been a blessing to you that the man of God is here, Prophet Russell Ringo, and he has talked on depression. He's spoken on transition, grateful, and tonight he's talking about staying focused and knowing your place. Whatever your place is, do the very best that you can and maintain your place. If you don't know your place, begin to seek out what it is that you desire to do. Not that somebody else may desire that you do, but what is it that whatever that you're looking to do. So we want to tell you, we thank you so much, Mr. Ringo, for being a part again. And it has been a great series. And we just want you to know that you can always call in to Win TV to request a CD, or you can email us at dedringo@yahoo.com. That's DED Ringo @yahoo.com, and we'll be more than happy to make sure that you get the CD, or that if you have more questions, give us the comments. We want some feedback from the audience. We want some feedback from those of you that sit down and watch the Vision of Hope. We want to know who you are, and if there's something that is pressing on your heart that you want to say, can you speak on this topic? Can you speak on this subject? Absolutely. Whatever is going to accommodate you, that's going to help you, that's going to push you forward, that's the reason that the Vision of Hope is here. And just to let you know, the Vision of Hope also offers classes in self-esteem and one-on-one in classroom style. If you're interested in that, call Win TV. They can tell you how to get in touch with me, or email, and we'll work with you on that. So we want to turn it back over quickly to Prophet Ringo, if you want for some last words before we close out.
Yeah, we just want to say thank you for having us here on this great platform, because you don't know the impact in the lives that you're touching. Yes. You might not get a response, but know that there's lives being touched. A lot of times people might not want to email or write, but we know that once the word and positivity words go out in the TV land, that those that's listening at Win TV, that they are blessed. And so we want to say thank you for the opportunity to be here with this great visionary. We said Vision Hope, but this great visionary that God had placed a vision in her spirit to be able to sit down and speak to those less fortunate and speak to those that are fortunate. And we know that Vision of Hope is going to excel, exceed abundantly all the dreams that she can ask or think according to the power that's in her. And we just thank you for being here. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Well, we thank you again, and we're going to have you back, and we're going to ask for you to pray about another series, because I know that this has been a great show for them that are listening. And I know that I just feel it. I feel it. I really do. And we've been here for a while here on Win TV. And we thank Win TV. We really thank Win TV for allowing Vision of Hope to be on the show and reach out to the people in the community. So again, this has been the Vision of Hope show with our Prophet Russell Ringo. We want to tell you thank you again, and we look to our audience and we tell you thank you for tuning in, and we want you to realize one thing: you can make it.